I'm going to show you some of the most advanced edits that you can do inside of CapCut. You're going to learn how to place text behind people, create fancy slide-on graphics with text, how to use masking for cool effects, and so much more. As always, the chapters will be linked down below if you want to skip ahead to the next tip.
Like the clone effect, which is super fun to do inside of CapCut.
Colin, we talked about this. You don't come on till the end of the video.
You're so unfair. I hate you.
Let's just go ahead with the video. But before we do, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, which is Epidemic Sound. Here's the deal. If you're not using music and sound effects in your videos, your content is going to be less engaging, which is going to cause people to stop watching. Now granted, CapCut does have music and sound effects built in, but from what I've seen and personally tested, there is copyrighted content mixed into those audio libraries and can get you into trouble on YouTube. This is why I recommend using Epidemic Sound. I've been using them personally for years, and that's why they are a sponsor on this channel. They have over 90,000 sound effects and over 40,000 songs spanning across tons of genres like electronic, film, pop, hip-hop, classical, acoustic, and more. With just one subscription, you can use their music across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, your podcast, and more. If you're interested in checking out Epidemic Sound, you can actually try them out for free for 30 days with my link in the description. Any music you use during that free trial period and upload to YouTube, you have the rights to use, even if you cancel the subscription later, so it's definitely worth checking out. And with that being said, let's hop into the video. So let's take a look at putting text behind a person. Here I am inside of CapCut. We have this clip of a hiker here walking, and we are going to put text behind them. So the first thing we want to do is go to the text section here. We're going to click add text and then type the text that we want to put behind them. We're just going to do journey because that seems appropriate. Then we're going to go to our font and adjust that as well. I'm also going to go ahead and style the text a bit as well. I'm probably going to add some black shadow behind this to make it stand out nice. All right, got my text all set up, so I can just click the check mark here and extend the text for the full duration of the clip. And here's where the magic trick comes in, and part of this is making sure you have the text exactly where you want it, you have any transitions added if you want to add transitions to your text, all that's there. And then what you want to do is export this video. So we're going to save it to our camera roll, and then we're going to add it to a different project. So I'm going to click Create New Project here. We're going to add that in. There we go, text on screen. And then what we're going to do is click Overlay, and add the blank clip over the top. There we go, select that. All right, so we have text underneath. Here's the blank clip. Increase it to cover the full screen. And then we're going to do is click Cutout. And then we're going to click Remove Background. And this should cut out our person. And because the clip behind them has the text effect already added, we are going to get this effect. Boom, there we go. The text is behind our person as they're walking. Even with the camera moving, we now have that cool cinematic look with something behind a person. And this works for text, this works for stickers and other elements that you want to slide up from behind someone. You can do that using this trick. While we're on the topic of text, let's take a look at how you can do video in text. And if you don't know what this is, let me show you an example here. This is what video in text looks like, and here's how to do that effect. Inside of CapCut, you're going to click New Project, and then you're going to click on Stock Videos, and you want to click on this black image or a little video clip here. We're going to add it in, extend it for a few seconds here, like so. Cool, that should be good enough. And then what we want to do is add our text in that we want to have a video behind. So I'm going to click Text. I'm going to click on Add Text, and we're going to type this in. Now, normally for video in text, the shorter the phrase, the better. So for this example, I'm going to choose travel, which I think is on the longer side. You really want this to be only just a couple of letters, so that way the video is very visible. And then what you also want to do is when choosing a font, choose a very bold font. Like this Avenir Next is really bold. And what we'll end up doing, we're going to increase the size of this to take up a lot of the screen, because again, the video is going to be playing inside the text. There we go. That's all set up. And the one final step after you choose the font, a nice bold font, is to go to Style, and we want to change the color of the text in here in order to achieve this effect. Now, what I've seen work the best out of all the colors you could choose is this one, because what we're essentially going to do is green screen chroma key, remove the color so we can see the video underneath. I've tried green. It didn't turn out as well as I liked. I went through a ton of colors. I found this light yellow here to be the best color. So I'm going to click check and make sure it extends for the full length of the black video there. There we go, 9 seconds. And then I'm just going to export it just like that. And we're going to take that video and put it into our other project. All right, so in my project, I have this like drone video of these like mountains here and the beach. So all I'm going to do is click overlay, add overlay. You can see I've tested all these colors here. Going to click on the light yellow color here, click add. Going to increase the size to take up the full screen. And then what I'm going to do is click on it, go to cutout, click on chroma key, and then drag this over the yellow and turn up the intensity. Now you want to be careful here because if you turn it to 1, you can kind of see the yellow particles there. So you got to get it just right. If you go too far, it's going to erase everything. So that's why the color really matters, because you really want to make sure you don't have any little bit left behind or seeing the colors and stuff. And this does a pretty good job, I found, with this color. So now if we click something like play here, we've got the video playing in the background. You can actually see through the text. And one additional step to really make a cool effect with this is to go to that overlay clip. And as you get close, click on the video and then click keyframe, scroll ahead a little bit, place another keyframe, and then just zoom in through one of the letters. So I'm going to zoom in through this A here. Like so. There we go. And now when I click play, not only do we have the travel, but now it's going to do a zoom in through the letters. And now we're into the video. So you can totally picture that as like an opening for like a travel video or something else, or a movie or a short film or something. And you zoom through the letters and you're into the scene. Super cool effect. Next, let's talk about tracking. This is actually a really cool feature that you can do, whether it's tracking your face, having a sticker track you, like a little red arrow pointing at something, or even just using something like keyframes to track you around. Really cool feature that you can utilize that'll give you an awesome effect. Now, interestingly enough, you can't do tracking on an iPad for some reason. It's just not in there. I can't find it. But it is on your smartphone, which I'm sure some of you use. So here's how to do that with your smartphone. You're going to click, obviously, new project, click the video you want to add in to track. I have this clip of me where I walk back and forth and then do some Fortnite dances. So let's get to here. We're just going to split this, and this is where we want it to start tracking. So all you have to do is click on the video, and on the bottom toolbox, you're going to scroll over to the camera tracking button. You're going to click on that and then click camera tracking. And here you can choose your face, your body, or your hand. I'm going to choose my face. I'm going to click start, and it's going to follow me around on screen. You can see the little square box there going around, following me around. Sweet. We can also do fit canvas because we want it zoomed in. Keep face size. I don't know what that does, but we'll select it anyway. And now, when we scroll through, we have tracking on our face. Look at me. I'm being tracked as I do my Fortnite dances there. But that is not all we can do with tracking. Like I said, we could go to stickers on the bottom section there. Let's go find a red arrow. So here we got this red arrow. We're going to shrink it down a bit. All right, so here we got this red arrow on screen. I'm just going to scroll over to tracking. In this circle, we shrink it down with our fingers, like so. Drag that over my head, like that. And before we do that, actually, we want to make sure this is lined up over our head. Or we want it in the exact position that we want it to track. There we go. I accept that. So now we can click on it, click tracking, make that circle go around my head. click start tracking. All right, so there we go. We got the red arrow following me around everywhere I go. Even when I'm dancing, it's still above my head. And the key with this that is really important to know is it needs to keep your face in frame. If you turn your head a little bit, it will lose tracking ability because this is just AI. It's not that smart. CapCut doesn't have billions of dollars to put into facial tracking recognition, but it does do a really good job if you can keep the person's face in frame. So just keep that in mind if you are doing effects with it. Keep yourself in the shot. And now let's move on to another editing tip that was requested by a viewer like you who asked for how to get photos to slide on, like multiple photos, like for maybe that's for a real estate video, or maybe you're doing a travel video and you want to show some of the photos as you're talking about them. Here is how you do this effect. All right, so I've got this video of me talking here about whatever, and I've purposely put myself over to the side. So there is something called like the rule of thirds, where if you turn on the grid on your smartphone, you kind of want to be either on this line or that line, and that kind of spaces you out properly. So you can see here, I'm off to this side, giving space for the photos that I want to slide on. So starting first with the end in mind, when you're recording, knowing that, hey, I'm probably going to put some photos on screen, I should probably have myself off to the side so there's room for the photos to come on where it's not going to block my face or something like that. So that's what I did there. And to do this, first we're going to add in the first photo. So I'm going to click overlay, add overlay. I'm going to go to my photos, and we'll go ahead and add our first one here. There we go. We're just going to extend it a little bit in length there. And I'm also going to shrink it down with my fingers. Just pinching with my fingers. Going to drag it over to the side here where I've got that. That looks pretty good. And probably the main thing you want to do here to make it more professional is to have an animation when it slides on. So I'm going to click animation. I'm going to have an in animation here. And again, I'm going to choose something fairly professional and simple. Do something like a slide right here. So it'll slide on, extend it to some length here.
So if you want to see some...
There we go. I feel like that's a good speed. And then what we can do is add our second photo, but I'll time it a little bit after. So I'm probably going to add it here just so there's a bit of distance between them. So 1, 2. So we'll have our second photo here. Extend that for the same length. Same thing, going to do animation and do the exact same in animation of slide right. And I also want to shrink it down with my fingers, make it the right size as the other one. There we go. And now when we click play, this is what we have.
So if you want to see some photos of what I'm talking about, these are just some random stock photos that I have no idea what they are.
There we go. And then I can also do, if you want, add an out animation. So you can go to your out animation. You could do it however you want. If you're, again, going for that kind of professional, I can have it slide back left off the screen. And for that, you're controlling this red side here, not the blue. And I just totally screwed it up. There we go. So we have 1.4 seconds for slide on, 1.4 seconds for slide out. So now this one will slide off. And we could probably do the same for the photo down here as well, so they both slide off the screen and it looks professional. And that's how you have multiple photos on screen while talking. For our next tip, we're going to be talking about how to do what you just saw happen, which is having the transition happen to a colored background with text. That is what we're going to be learning how to create inside of CapCut. I think this can be super useful for a lot of different channels, whether it's more professional, or you're doing essays, or you're doing a top 7 tips video and you want each tip to be numbered. This is how you can do this effect. So here I'm in CapCut and I have this opening here.
And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. Tip number 1.
All right, and I just have me saying tip number 1, all-in-one record here. Now, first thing we're gonna need is a colored background, and I think the easiest way to get this is to use the free software Canva to be able to get those images. So let's get over to Canva to start. So inside of Canva, all you're gonna wanna choose is something that's 1920 by 1080, not the video. This presentation is, you could always search for that too. I'm just going to click on presentation here, even though I won't be doing a presentation. And then I'm just going to go down here to photos or background. and I can select a color. So let's say we want to go for this blue color. Also, gradients look really professional too, so maybe I could do like a blue gradient. I feel like that would look well, or even a darker color. I like the darker colors personally, so I think I'm going to go with this. And you can also customize it a bit too in here, so I can make it darker, black. You know, you can adjust it around however you want. Probably go for just something like that. Looks good. And all I'm going to do is export this, download to my device, and instead of file type being PDF, you know, you just want to make sure it's a JPEG. That's a very simple file size. 1920 by 1080, which is full HD. Click download. It's going to save it to my photos, and then we'll add it in CapCut. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click overlay, add overlay. Gonna head over to my photos, and I'm gonna choose the blue color here. So we'll click add, make sure it takes up the full screen. There we go. And it's gonna be a hard cut at first, but let's just line it up here. So I wanna line this up to where right when I'm about to finish talking, that transition starts to happen. So we got the blue here. We're gonna click on animation, and we're gonna choose a nice in animation for this. I like to do pretty simple slide-ons. That's my preference. Go, like it. So now when we click play, this is what we have.
Into this video. Tip number 1 is how to do...
Boom, we have the colors there. Now we want to add our text. So we have the slide on. Now we want to click text, add text, and type out our tip. So maybe we'll do tip in full caps probably. Tip number 1, how to do this. Cool. Then we'll go to our fonts and customize this and go stylize it and do all that kind of stuff here. All right, there we go. We have the text set up, and now I'm kind of regretting this blue color. It kind of looks like one of those old 80s videos where they just use plain blue backgrounds for text, but whatever. We're going to roll with it. I probably would have gone back and changed this a bit, but we're going to go ahead and do an in animation as well for the text. So animation in, we're going to find a nice one for the text coming on screen here. All right, found the animation I'm going to go with, which is just a simple zoom in. So I'm just going to click the check mark, back out, and this is what we have.
And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. Tip number 1 is how to do the text.
And I think that's pretty good. Obviously, like I said, I want to change that background. And the other thing, too, is you want to do out animations as well. So the text will disappear, the blue thing slides off, and then you go on with your video. And the thing is, too, is that you're doing a change of scene. So instead of just text popping up on screen while you're talking and the video stays stale, there's now a change, a pattern interrupt. We're now seeing a different screen with text on it. We're sliding back. It's going to add more motion, professionalism, and engagement to your video. So utilize this effect, explore all the different backgrounds that you can use inside of Canva. Find one that works for you. This is an awesome effect. On to another viewer submitted question is how to do a border around a picture-in-picture. For example, maybe you do a circle mask around your face for like a gaming video, reaction, a tutorial, and you want there to be a white border around that picture-in-picture. How do you do that? Let's take a look. And what's actually interesting is it's a very similar strategy to the last tip, which is we want to utilize Canva to create our outline border. So let's hop back over to Canva. So for this, I'm just going to make the background green, and then I'm going to go up to the elements section right here. Going to go to shapes and click on a circle, increase the size, make sure it's centered, and then I'm just going to make it a white circle like so. I think that looks great. And then we're just going to export this out, and we're going to just chroma key out the green so we just have the white circle. So let's go ahead and download this. And then here inside of CapCut, we're going to click overlay, add that photo in. And then from here, we're going to click cutout. We're going to click chroma key, and we're going to drag it over the green. And then we're going to click on intensity, and we're going to increase that. There we go. We just have our nice little white circle here. And then what we want to do is go to our overlays again, and we're going to add an overlay of ourselves. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is scroll over to the masking section. We're going to click the circle. We're going to put the circle around ourselves, increase that however we want. But we want to try and make sure it stays similar to the shape we created. So for now, we're just going to click check and do that. Shrink this down with our finger drag it over this white circle and shrink it just a little bit to where we can have a white border around it. What you can actually do is once it's in there, we can go back into masking, and we could always adjust this a little more. Like, oh, it needs to be a little taller, or it needs to be a little over that way, and make adjustments to where we'll have a nice circle for this. And there we go. We now have a white border around our picture-in-picture video. This isn't the most perfect circle. We might need to go back into Canva and make it a better circle. Kind of looks odd here, but still, that is how you add a border inside of CapCut. For the next effect, let's get into masking and how to do some cool effects with it. Now, we just kind of witnessed one in that previous effect, but what we're going to do is something that I love doing with masking, which is being able to disappear behind a pole and be able to peek out on the other side. I always thought this was so magical, seeing it growing up. So here is how to do it inside of CapCut. All right, so here we are inside of CapCut. I've got this video here, and part of the magic of this trick is how you film the video. So things you'll notice that I've done is I've locked my camera's settings. So if you're shooting on your phone, you need to hold down your finger on the phone and lock the auto exposure and autofocus. If you're in a camera, only manual focus, no auto controls. Otherwise, there's going to be weird color changes that'll happen because we're basically taking half of the screen is one clip and half of the screen is a completely separate clip. And we combine them together with masking, and that causes this effect. So we have nothing going on here for a bit. We just let the camera roll. So we have just a blank slate. And then we also have a video of me walking towards the pole and then pretending to peek out. And that's where the magic of this trick is going to happen. So what we want to do is for this part, we want to just click on it, click split. And we just have about, what is this, almost 10 seconds here of nothing happening. And then on this clip, what we want to do is make it an overlay, which is right here. Boom. Drag this to the point where I actually come on screen. So, yeah, roughly about there. That's fine. Drag it over. There we go. So now we have these two clips stacked on top of each other. Here's where the magic happens. We are going to click on this video clip. We are going to scroll over to the masking button, which is right here. Click on this. Click split, and as you can see, there's the magic of masking there. It's like I've disappeared. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And all we're going to do is with this pole here, make this a 90-degree, line it up with the pole. And if you're still having trouble understanding what's happening here, let me do an adjustment here just to show you. I'm going to decrease the brightness on one of these. We have one clip here dark, one here bright. We've combined two clips with the power of masking there. So it really is just two clips, and because we locked our settings, you can't tell there's two clips here, that they're two separate clips. It looks like one single clip, and that's why you have to lock those settings, otherwise it's going to look wonky. So now, we walk onto screen, and we just vanish behind the pole. How did that happen? And then we peek out on the other side, and we're totally fine. So that is how you do the cool masking effect there, where you can completely disappear behind the pole. It's the power of masking. And there's a lot of other ways you can do this effect too with different objects. So, but this is one of my favorite ways. So that is that effect. For the next effect, let's talk about chroma key visual effects. Now, this is really fun to do. And I think a lot of people already know that, yes, if I add a green screen clip, I can remove the green screen. But I want to show you another cool way you can use these green screen effects and actually get them behind you as well. Kind of similar to the text effect, but still I think worth showing. All right, so I have this clip here of me being all cool and walking away with my sunglasses, hasta la vista baby kind of style. So what we're going to do, we're just going to split right here as I'm walking and delete that. There we go. Walking by, cool. And what we want to do is we want to have an explosion here in the background go off as I put my sunglasses on and it looks super cool. Now, there's two different ways you can do this. One, there are websites out there where you can get like really realistic explosion effects. I haven't fully explored those. Like I have some paid subscriptions where I can get realistic explosions. For most of you guys out there, that's not a real solution. So let me show you free ways you can get some green screen effects. And probably one of the easiest ways to do this is YouTube. So you just go to the search bar, search green screen effects, and you'll get all these playlists of different green screen effects. So what I actually did is I just recorded my phone screen or tablet screen, clicked play on one of the explosion effects, as you can see, and then just ended up stopping the recording once the video was done. And that allowed me to get the green screen video off of YouTube. Now, you'll also want to make sure that you're careful with what green screen effects you use. You don't want to fall into the Mr. Beast boat where you use something that's copyrighted and someone takes down your video or takes all your ad revenue. So just be careful. A lot of the stuff on YouTube is just copyright free. It exists out there, or it's funny memes and stuff like that. But just be mindful of that as well. So now inside of CapCut, let's add that explosion video. I'm going to click overlay, add my green screen footage, and I'm just going to trim it right here. So I'm just going to click split, delete, scroll to the end of this explosion. There we go. Split, delete. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is click on the video. I'm going to click edit, crop, and then I'm going to crop in here on the green screen part. So we just have the green screen there. Awesome. That looks great. Click the check mark, and I can increase the size if I want. Now, what we want to do is head over to cutout, chroma key, get it over that green color, and turn up that intensity. I find, at least with this explosion effect, it is not the most realistic. It's decent. I'm just going to move it over there with my finger and align it a little bit better. So we got boom, explosion happens. And you'll notice it's not in the background. I thought you said it's going to be in the background. We are going to do that. But right now I just want to make sure I line it up in the right spot. I think that is a good spot for it. So boom, it explodes. You can also, if you want to, you can always click on this green screen effect and click adjust. And I did this once before. I clicked the brightness, turned it down a little bit so you can see a little bit more of a detail there. Nice. And then what I'm going to do, click on my current video that's on the bottom here. We are going to copy. Where is that? Boom, copy. And then we're going to click overlay. We're going to drag it right over the top and make a little sandwich in between this green screen video. Awesome. And what I also want to do here is quickly apply some filters to make this more movie-like. So I'm going to go to movies. I'm going to click on Oppenheimer effect because that's a fun movie with an explosion. Filters, movies, Oppenheimer. Ooh, so cinematic. All right. And then what I'm going to do is click cutout. We're going to click remove background. It's going to remove the background. And what we basically did was we did make a sandwich, and we did the same thing with that text effect where we have the background, we've got the effect, and then we added the same ourselves over the top with the background removed to thus get this epic cinematic walk. Yeah! Now just add some like heavy metal epidemic sound music there to make it look super awesome. And like I said, not the most realistic green screen explosion. However, if you do get out and get the right assets that you want to actually use in your video clips, in your short films, things like that, that's a way you can realistically get it behind you in post-production without having to go and download like After Effects or something like that. And that brings us to cloning ourselves. How do you clone yourself inside of CapCut? Let's take a look at how to do this. So here's the clip I have. It's about 3 minutes long. And so I first started off with recording a few takes of me talking. And you got to really plan out your lines that you're going to say with your clone self. So I went through and did that a few times here. And then eventually I just switched positions and switched to manual focus. Again, you want to try to keep it balanced there. And did some clips recording there. So that's all I did, all in one take. And what we want to basically do is combine these both together. So the first thing I'm going to do is on our bottom clip here, just going to click split, click delete. This is our opening talking line. Then we react to our clone that'll eventually be there. Awesome. Click split, that's part 1. Now we want to get to a part where the clone comes in and it looks good. And you'll also probably notice I did multiple takes of these because trying to time yourself with your clone is very difficult. So I did multiple takes of both. So that way if I, interrupted myself accidentally or did something like that, I had some extra clips there. So I would encourage you to do that if you're doing clone filming. Do multiple takes because the first take you might not get your lines lined up properly. All right, so I think I got one. So I'm gonna click on this video, and this is me popping out. I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click overlay. We're gonna drag it over the top here, and hopefully we got this the right clip here. And the way we're going to do this is through a method called masking. We talked about it before here in the former tips, but basically what we're doing is we're gonna click mask. We're going to click split, and we are going to turn it. And what this is doing, if you didn't watch the last tip, is we are merging 2 clips together. So this is splitting the clip in half, allowing us to do this. And I'm actually going to line it up here with that piece right there. So we basically have, again, we have 1 clip. I'm just turn up the brightness so you can see it. We have 1 clip here, split, and then another clip here, which is our bottom clip. So top clip is just conformed to that section. That one there. Cool. So now we gotta just time it properly. All right, I think I got it lined up. Let's take a listen.
As always, the chapters will be linked down below if you want to skip ahead to the next tip, like the clone effect, which is super fun to do inside of CapCut. Colin, we talked about this. You don't come on till the end of the video. You're so unfair. I hate you. Let's just go.
Awesome. All right. And now what we also want to do is add more immersion to this. So using Epidemic Sound, I can go ahead and search for things like footsteps, a door slamming, different things I can add in there to just add more immersion to it, like there is actually a clone of mine in the building. But that's how you do the clone effect, and there's actually 2 more things you should do. Number 1 is subscribe. You made it this far. I do CapCut tutorials all the time, so hit that subscribe button. And then also, check out the playlist we have over here. This has got more CapCut tips for you, giving you exactly what you want. Check it out. You're gonna get so much knowledge in this app. You're gonna be an amazing editor. Can't wait to see you over there, and can't wait to see you in future videos.